So it's laundry day, and I'm finding out that laundry day is kind of my relaxation, time for me day. And yesterday was really, really hard, so I did just a video on my anxiety and how it really looked and felt to me, and be able to talk through it. But yesterday I also had a staff meeting for suicide prevention. And I deal with a lot of suicide ideations and at my job. And I couldn't even go through the whole entire course without crying. It does hit me a lot, to a lot of degree. It's hard for me to admit on how much suicidal ideation I have. It's not as much today because I have a lot of things going for me, and I've pushed through a lot. But looking back and going through those suicide courses and hearing how you're supposed to handle suicide, how you're supposed to talk to somebody and support them, and everything that they're wanting from their perspective, I can't help but to still scream that I'm still looking for that for myself. Every day I'm still looking for that kind of support, that kind of somebody to go and ask me if I am suicidal, ask me if I'm okay, not as this whole fake facade of, oh, it'll be okay, it'll always work out. Coming from somebody who has been suicidal and had a direct plan of doing it, it's so hard because I cannot be the kind of person to sit there with somebody and tell them that all this fake cheerleading type, and you can feel the difference. Those that have been through suicide can feel the difference. I'm still looking for that one person that can sit in the dark, in the awkward silence, and truly sit in depression with me. And that is something that is so rare to find. I see it every day, even in my coworkers or random people that are scared to death of sitting in the dark. Oh, that's way too dark. I want to say it's okay just so that I don't have to feel the emotions that person is feeling, because they're so intense. That intense hopelessness, the fear of being swallowed up by that kind of darkness. And I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody that reached out for me. I didn't have anybody asking me if I was okay. Nobody could tell. Even my mentors and people that I grew up with, no one had an idea that I was depressed. I had it all. I was going to work, and I came home, and I had my kids, and I had my mother's support group, and everybody was looking up to me and going, oh, Kim, you're so amazing. And meanwhile, I knew that everything I was doing was an absolute lie. Absolutely a lie. I put on a fake smile. I made everybody else laugh around me. And inside, I was hoping that I wouldn't wake up. And I know that people are so terrified of talking about suicide because, oh my God, don't be creating ideas in their head, and don't be, do everything in your possible mind to try to avoid even the subject so that they're not thinking about it, distract them. And in all honesty, we're looking for somebody who's actually strong enough to just sit with us. Give us just a space. Give us your time. Give us your energy just to sit with us. Your presence. We're looking for a sign that we are meant to be here. That somebody isn't wanting to fix us. We're not broken. Don't pick up our problem and don't, pick it up and be like, oh, I've got to fix this because it's broken, or, I've got to, ignore it, distract it. I got to make this feeling go away of awkwardness, scrambling for anything but to feel how we feel being hopeless. And I say us because I feel it. That hopelessness can really come through. And I do still have seconds, but it's seconds, not moments, not days, not months like it used to be. And it slowly is getting better. And if you do push through it, it does. I mean, it's not bullshit. It does get better. I'm just saying, when we're in that moment of hopelessness, we just want somebody to just sit with us. And I wish that I had that. And I still do. Even though I'm not suicidal, I still wish somebody would actually just sit with me in my presence and just be present. Listen and hear, not object, not try to put your opinions into it. Actively listening. And this subject is very hard. It touches me to my core, because I want to inspire people that they are not hopeless, that there is hope out there. I know what it feels like to feel hopeless, and I have been there. And my life, my actions prove that there's hope, not my words. I can't convince you that everything's going to be okay with words. I want to be that mentor and that role model of my actions speak for me louder than any words that I can come up with. Because today I have my kids. Today I've got my car fixed. And I had enough money for everything. And I am truly 100% grateful for that, because I remember the times that I wished for today. I can't help but to talk about suicide and realize that I fought with everything I had for today. I fought it with everything I had to be here today, because I didn't have the help. I didn't have the support. And with mental illness and depression and borderline personality disorder, suicide is very high risk for us, because it's so easy for us to feel helpless and hopeless and everything feeling impossible to get through, especially in the moment. Wanting to distract yourself and, fill the void. Drugs, alcohol, I've been through it all. Sex, trauma, putting yourself in risky behavior situations. You know damn well what's risky, what's going to get you in trouble, and we have a tendency of diving right into it, because that's what hopeless does to you. You don't care, and that desire for pain, it's a combination for me. I needed to feel pain, because that made me realize that I was still alive. So that emotional pain drove me. So downgrading myself, belittling myself, putting myself down, making it hurt emotionally, made it so that I lived another day. And that survival mode, that is absolutely 100% survival mode. And then you realize that I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to feel this kind of pain anymore. So you start working on your thought process. Just be aware of your thought process. Be aware of where it's going. If you can start catching on to what your thoughts are thinking and what they're doing, you can easily change that. And I did not even realize until I started working in mental health that is DBT. That is all DBT. That is all dialectical behavioral therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy. And I've been doing it for many, many years without knowing what it is, because I knew that my thoughts control my behavior. If you can control your thoughts, then you can control your behavior and your actions. And it starts with your thought process. And you can convince yourself either way that you're helpless or that you can do it. You can convince yourself of anything that you want to. But it's a choice. The day that I had to make the decision whether I was going to live or die, nobody was there. Nobody even knew I was having a problem, but I was falling asleep at work. I was on antidepressants. And I was working as a CNA. And I was falling asleep at work. And that was the day that I was going to do it. And instead, my coworker yells at me because I fell asleep at work. I was such in a train of thought of, I'm going to do this. I'm done. I'm going to do this. That when she yelled at me for falling asleep at work, I was so angry. How dare you? Seriously, I'm doing this, I'm working, I'm still here, I am doing everybody's job plus mine. That self-righteous thing that we can do sometimes. And I was so mad at her. Unbelievably. But it put a fire under my ass so much that I threw away the antidepressants. I went to the doctor. And I got up. Like, that's it. You're not going to tell on me. You're not going to get me in trouble for this. You're not going to do this to me. And it was enough for me to stand up out of my hopelessness and take a stand and take responsibility for my actions. I was still suicidal. I still had the suicidal ideations and the thought process. But it was enough for me to stand up and be aware of it. I still had to make that decision. And the craziest thing on this planet was I walked that same path every day to and from work for a whole entire year. And that day, that night on my way home, here's this white little kitten who came out of the middle of nowhere. And it was a white Siamese cat. And it was pure white, blue eyes. And that kitten followed me all the way home. And to this day, it's a cat that saved my life. There was no people. There was nobody asking if I was okay. Nobody reaching out a hand. It was a stray kitten that stayed with me for a couple of days. You know, just something, anything that was with me during my worst of moments, because I was walking home in the middle of the night by myself. I couldn't get out of bed for 16 hours a day. I would be falling asleep when I had my kids, crashing. I could not stay awake. And then I'd go to work, and I'd be falling asleep at work. I never saw the sun. I was working overnights. And it was hard. But I know that is something that I want to do for every single person in my life. Whoever is suicidal, I am not afraid of going up and asking them and being blunt with them. What is keeping you alive today? That is my biggest message to anybody that I'm around that is suicidal. Why are you taking a shower? Why are you getting up out of bed? Why are you awake right now? Not because I'm hoping you die, because I want to instill that thought process of what is keeping you going. And it's as simple as how are you getting out of bed in the morning? How are you getting dressed? Because I know how hard it is, and you're still doing it, and I'm so impressed by people who are doing that. That is the most awe thing that I can imagine on this planet, is those that are hopeless and completely depressed, and they are still up and awake. And I want to give that message to everybody. And this subject does mean a lot to me. I'm very passionate about it, and I am not afraid of speaking about it, because we need more people who understand what suicide feels like and how to inspire that, how to sit with somebody. Don't be afraid. Suicide is heart-wrenching, but don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of somebody who is suicidal. That's the worst thing that you can possibly do. If you see somebody acting out of the norm, and you've known them your entire lives, or even just for a moment, and you know that is something that they would not do on a normal basis, confront them, tell them, ask them, because that is meaning that you care, you're noticing. That action lets us know that we matter. If somebody would have come up to me and actually sat with me instead of trying to fix it or feeling awkward about it, just ask us simply, are you suicidal? Are you depressed? How are you doing getting up out of bed? Being direct. No pussyfooting around the bush here. Ask. Be direct. Because that means that you care and you're paying attention and that we matter. And that's all I've ever wanted for myself, is that honest support. Support. And I wish more people understood what that meant, especially with borderline personality disorder, because nothing hits us harder than peer support. Nothing gets us faster than a connection with somebody. It's not medications, it's not drugs, it's not psychotherapy all the time. 99% of the time, how to reach a person with borderline personality disorder is through connection. It's through somebody caring. And if we could all be a little bit more compassionate, we could reach more people. And that's my message today. Thank you. Bye.